Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day. Don't forget, grab your smartphone and download the Lava Matra app and stay in touch. Guru Mahārāja's message is your advantage. The following is a Sri Krishna Caitanya book compilation given by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Mahārāja on February 21st, 2022 in Chennai, India.
Īśvara Purī instructs his disciple Nimāi Paṇḍita to chant and preach Kṛṣṇa-Nāma, continuing the Caitanya Leela. Under the section, How all the residents of Varanasi became Vaishnavas. Caitanya Charitamrita Adi 7.91.
তুমি পরম পুরুষার্থ, তোমার প্রেমেতে আমি হইলাম কৃতার্থ।
Translation: It is very good, my dear child, that you have attained the supreme goal of life by developing love of Godhead. Thus you have pleased me very much, and I am very much obliged to you. Purport: According to the revealed scriptures, if a spiritual master can convert even one soul into a perfect, pure devotee, his mission in life is fulfilled. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur always used to say, even at the expense of all the properties, temples and mathas that I have, if I could convert even one person into a pure devotee, my mission would be fulfilled. It is very difficult, however, to understand the science of Krishna, what to speak of developing love of Godhead. Therefore, if by the grace of Lord Caitanya and the spiritual master, a disciple attains the standard of pure devotional service, the spiritual master is very happy. The spiritual master is not actually happy if the disciple brings him money, but when he sees that a disciple is following the regulative principles and advancing in spiritual life, he is very glad and feels obliged to such an advanced disciple.
So, here Lord Caitanya is telling us what the real goal of life should be.
So here Lord Caitanya is telling us what the real goal of life should be.
We should try to awaken our dormant love for Krishna.
We should try to awaken our dormant love for Krishna.
And if one is able to do that, such a master is very glad.
And if one is able to do that, the spiritual master is very glad.
That is the most important thing.
And that is the most important thing.
So, we should try to practice devotional service.
So we should try to practice devotional service.
We heard one great Pandit, met Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in the note.
A great Pandit once met Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in Vrindavan.
And he asked, how can I understand the scriptures?
And he asked, how can I understand the scriptures?
So Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur said he was a bit busy. He could go and help the pujari clean the utensils.
So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that he was a bit busy and that he could go and help the pujari clean utensils.
So I went and did that. Came back to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
So he went and did that, and then he came back to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
Thank you, I have now realized.
Thank you, I have now realized the secret.
Today is the appearance day of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
And today is the appearance day of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
নাচ গাও ভক্ত সঙ্গে কর সংকীর্তন কৃষ্ণ নাম উপদেশী তার সর্বজন
My dear child, continue dancing, chanting and performing Sankirtan in association with devotees. Furthermore, go out and preach the value of chanting Kṛṣṇa-Nāma, for by this process you will be able to deliver all fallen souls. Purport. It is another ambition of the spiritual master to see his disciples not only chant, dance and follow the regulative principles, but also preach the Sankirtan movement to others in order to deliver them. For the Krishna consciousness movement is based on the principle that one should become as perfect as possible in devotional service oneself and also preach the cult for others' benefit. There are two classes of unalloyed devotees, namely Ghoshtyanandis and Bhajananandis. Bhajananandis refers to one who is satisfied to cultivate devotional service for himself, and Ghoshtyanandis is one who is not satisfied simply to become perfect himself, but wants to see others also take advantage of the holy name of the Lord and advance in spiritual life. The outstanding example is Prahlad Maharaj. When he was offered a benediction by Lord Narsimhadev, Prahlad Maharaj said, "My dear Lord, I have no problem and want no benediction from you because I am quite satisfied to chant your holy name. This is sufficient for me because whenever I chant, I immediately merge in an ocean of transcendental bliss. I only lament to see others bereft of your love. They are rotting in material activities for transient material pleasure and spoiling their lives, toiling all day and night simply for sense gratification. With no attachment for love of Godhead, I am simply lamenting for them and devising various plans to deliver them from the clutches of Maya." Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains in his Anubhashya, a person who has attracted the attention of the spiritual master by his sincere service likes to dance and chant with similarly developed Krishna conscious devotees. The spiritual master authorizes such a devotee to deliver fallen souls in all parts of the world. Those who are not advanced prefer to chant the Hare Krishna mantra in a solitary place. Such activities constitute, in the language of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, a type of cheating process in the sense that they imitate the activities of exalted personalities like Haridas Thakur. One should not attempt to imitate such exalted devotees. Rather, everyone should endeavor to preach the cult of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu in all parts of the world and thus become successful in spiritual life. One who is not very expert in preaching may chant in a secluded place, avoiding bad association, but for one who is actually advanced, preaching and meeting people who are not engaged in devotional service are not disadvantages. A devotee gives the non-devotees his association but is not affected by their misbehavior. Thus, by the activities of a pure devotee, even those who are bereft of love of Godhead get a chance to become devotees of the Lord one day. In this connection, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur advises that one discuss the verse in Srimad Bhagavatam and following verses in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. One should not imitate the activities of great personalities. One should be detached from material enjoyment and should accept everything in connection with Krishna's service.
Srila Prabhupada had said both set of races, preaching is the essence.
Srila Prabhupada had said, books are the basis and preaching is the essence.
He was encouraging all his followers to preach.
He was encouraging all his followers to preach.
And by preaching, the Sankirtan movement would spread all over the world.
And by preaching, the Sankirtan movement would spread all over the world.
Because of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur,
Because of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur
had asked, told the Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Prabhupada, to preach the content they seeking us.
had told Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to preach in English-speaking countries.
And because he did this, so we got a hope.
And because he did this, so he got a hope. We got a hope.
Prabhupada went all over the world and established 108 temples.
Prabhupada went all over the world and established 108 temples.
Today, we're remembering Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
So today we remember Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur,
how he encouraged Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to preach all over the world.
and how he encouraged Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to preach all over the world.
He met Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in Ultadena Junction 1.
He met Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in Ultaranga Junction
100 years ago.
100 years ago.
So that celebration we're observing today.
So that celebration is what we are observing today.
So I'll end the class here and have some questions.
We will end the class here with some questions to ask. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, how do we reciprocate with devotees who prefer to do a kind of bhajananandi lifestyle with ISKCON, within ISKCON?
I naturally want to associate with Gosyanandi.
We naturally want to associate with Ghostyanandi.
Associate with devotees who want to make more devotees.
And we like to associate with devotees who would make more devotees.
And Gosyanandis like to chant by themselves.
And Bhajananandis like to chant by themselves.
So there's not much to reciprocate.
So there is not much to reciprocate. Next question. Guru Maharaj, how should we deal with favoritism in the material world if it affects our spiritual life too when it happens among devotees? Guru Maharaj, how to see this? Your insignificant spiritual son, Akhila Bandhu Gopala Das, Indore.
They understand how favoritism can affect.
I don't really understand how favoritism can affect.
Apparently, if someone gets some favoritism, still Krishna will analyze us as per our situation.
Apparently, if someone gets some favoritism, Krishna will analyze us with the situation.
And so that way, we don't have to worry.
And that way, so we don't have to worry.
That Krishna is seeing all you do in His service.
That Krishna is seeing over you in His service.
And someone gets favoritism, that could be good or not good.
And if someone gets favoritism, how that could be good or not good.
One will be good in a sense, and that one gets some facility in the devotional service.
It could be good in the sense that if someone gets some facility to do devotional service.
It could be bad in the sense that you got facilities without much effort.
It could be bad in sense how someone gets facilities without much effort.
So that way he's deprived of certain mercy.
So in that way, he deprived of some mercy. From Lord Nitai Gaur.
I wouldn't worry about that.
So I wouldn't worry about it.
You just try to please Nitai Gaur, try to please the deity.
You just try to please Nitai Gaur and please the deities.
And naturally, someone may give you facilities.
And naturally, someone may give you facilities.
You can approach leaders saying you want more service.
You can approach the leaders saying you want more service.
So, usually people who approach like that, they get more service.
So usually people who approach like that, they get more service.
I'll look at an example in the nest. A baby bird who chirps loudest gets the worm.
Prabhupada gave the example that in the nest, the baby bird that chirps the loudest gets the worm. Next question. Is there really any difference between taking the divine initiation from our Srila Gurudev directly or through virtually? Please kindly forgive for any of my improper services unto you. Yours eternal in service, Rasa Sindhu Sachisuta Das.
As far as benefit taking initiation, directly or virtually,
There is benefit in taking initiation, virtually or really.
if you feel initiated, you feel connected to the Guru, and that's what counts.
And if you feel initiated, if you feel connected to the Guru, that's what counts.
Although had initiated many devotees by letter.
Prabhupada had initiated many devotees by letter.
And now, sometimes due to the pandemic, we have initiations virtually.
And now, sometime into the pandemic, we have initiations personally, virtually.
So, if the spiritual master is accepting you, you're accepting him, what's the difference?
Then, so if spiritual master is accepting you and you are accepting him, what's the difference? Last question. Guru Maharaj, when Srila Prabhupada was instructed by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur to preach in the Western world in 1922, why did Srila Prabhupada take so many years to fulfill the order of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Sumitra Krishna Das?
And the same question.
Interesting question.
You know that Srila Prabhupada, he was a grihastha.
We know that Srila Prabhupada was a grihastha.
He mentioned that in Allahabad he had a house and it had a special room for visiting preachers.
He mentioned that in Allahabad he had a house and a special room for visiting preachers.
So he facilitated many Gaudiya preachers.
So he facilitated many Gaudiya Math preachers.
He said that he wanted to marry a particular good-looking girl.
And he said that he wanted to marry a particular good-looking girl.
But his father told him to marry another lady.
But his father told him to marry another lady,
So in his estimation, was not as beautiful.
who in his estimation was not beautiful,
Not as.
not as beautiful.
So then, in one sense, he said, by the blessing of my father, it was easier for me to take sannyas.
So then, in one sense, he said that by the mercy of my father, it was easier for me to take sannyas.
He was because they had many children, he had a responsibility.
Anyways, he was a grihastha, and in maintaining children, he had responsibilities.
And he took vanaprastha,
And then he took vanaprastha,
and finally took sannyas.
and then finally he took sannyas.
So that way, he was able to go to the West and preach.
So in that way, he was able to go to the West and preach.
Everybody is different,
Everybody is different.
and maybe we have many devotees who are grihastas, but they are doing full devotional service.
And today we have devotees who are grihastha and they are doing full devotional service.
Maybe at that time, one had to be a sannyasi to be able to travel freely around the world.
But maybe at that time, one had to be a sannyasi to be able to freely travel around the world.
So anyway, Prabhupada never forgot the instruction he received in 1922.
Secondly, Prabhupada never forgot the instruction he received in 1922.
And he took that up in 1960. He went to the West.
Then he came to America in 1965. he went to the West.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Do you like our ad-free videos? Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.